This is Upfront, live from our studios here at Kokomlemle, and this is the time we get to bring you a very wonderful edition. This edition is focusing on Ghana's all-important decision to use drones to deliver medical supplies to the underserved areas of the country. Now, this decision by government has actually attracted a lot of opposition from the minority in Ghana's parliament. The crux of the matter is that this is a total rip-off and that the money is excessive and that there are so many unanswered questions surrounding this. You've heard from the politicians. Now, today, we will speak to the Ghana Health Service later on. But first and foremost, the company that's completely in charge of this project, that company is Zipline International. I'm sure in all of this conversation you've heard your name before. My guest today is in charge of systems integration in that particular institution. We should be able to appreciate from the technical point of view exactly all of this is about and what we will be getting out of this as a state. Daniel Amoy is with Zipline. He joins me here. Daniel, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
I hope you are doing well.
I'm okay.
So first and foremost, let's understand this. How did this all get about? Did you walk to the office of the vice president? Did you walk to government's quarters and tell them that we can do this, so give us a deal and we'll make sure that we deliver to all the corners that you want?
My role is systems integration, and it is more of an implementation and making sure that the service actually is part of the supply chain system that is already running. To the best of my knowledge, this is something that the Ghana Health Service and the Ministry of Health saw the example of what is being done in Rwanda.
Okay.
And they felt this is something that can add value to their existing systems in the country. And so that is where the whole thing started from.
You are doing it with Rwanda?
Yes, so Zipline is delivering blood to a lot of facilities in Rwanda. And recently, the government of Rwanda, upon seeing how good the service has been over the last 2 years, has decided to expand it to cover almost the entire Rwanda and increase the products from not just blood, but now to all other products, pharmaceuticals and every other thing.
Now, let me understand this. How does it work?
Okay, if someone at a hospital, which needs the product.
Let's say in Tumu.
So let's say someone in Tumu or
yes.
Dafina needs a product. The person picks up a phone, makes a call to the Zipline distribution center, or they send an SMS, or they send us a WhatsApp. And once Zipline receives these messages, we will then immediately respond that we would be servicing you with these products you've requested for in the next few minutes. And then the drone flies autonomously to the facility and then delivers the products to them.
Where can the drone go in Ghana?
So the drone has ranges in which it flies. So for instance, each distribution center drone range is about 20,000 square kilometers.
And that's from, let's say, here at Kokomlemle to which place?
I can't speak for, but let me use an example of where our first distribution center would be based. It would be based just outside of Suhum. So from that base, we can go as far as Upfront Plains. We can cover places like Upper Dentra in the central region. We can cover parts of the Ashanti region, parts of Volta region, and all the northern part of the Greater Accra region.
I want to be clear in my mind. Can you go as far as the Upper East and Upper West regions?
I mean, from Suhum, we can't go that far.
Okay.
So what happens is, as I said, it covers 20,000 square kilometers. So radius. So what happens is we'll be putting up other distribution centers across the country to ensure that we can service as many people as possible.
When is this service starting?
So, I mean, it has to go through Parliament for sure. But we are prepped up that once it goes through Parliament and we get all the necessary things sorted out, early next year, hopefully, if we get approval in not more than 2 months, we should be up and running.
Let me get this straight. I mean, you're saying that first, when you get the approval anytime soon in Parliament, as a Parliament,
we are hopeful,
yes, that you get the approval from Parliament, you start in January?
No, February.
You start in February?
Yes.
So the sites you are talking about, where the drone will be moving from, how many do you intend building across the country?
So per our agreement, we are supposed to put up at least 4 distribution centers across the country.
And this can cover the entire nation, the four
It cannot cover the entire nation. But when you look at the population sitting within the range, it's about 14 to 16 million people. So that is the kind of range we can fly in. We obviously can't fly in places like around military bases or around major airports, because these are no-fly zones.
Yeah, I get your point.
Yes.
But I'm considering, and the crux of all of this is that government want to serve the underserved areas.
Yes.
So, for example, in Dafiema, Buzi, Issa, where there isn't any doctor today, if there's a problem with the CHIPS compound there and they require specific supply, where would your drone be moving from, and how fast can it get there?
Like I said, the place you're mentioning is not very familiar with me, because we are moving in zones. So let me pick an example.
That's in the Upper East region
anyway. All right. So let me pick somewhere within the range we've done some work and survey. So pick where our first distribution center would be based. It's covering a number of CHIPS compounds, health centers, hospitals, district hospitals. So let's pick some facility, let's say, I don't know, Asesuwa somewhere. And they have a CHIPS compound there. Now, we've been working with the Ghana Health Service to understand what products can even be served to these facilities over the last few months. So, for instance, a CHIPS compound is not mandated to receive certain kinds of products. So the products that they are mandated to receive, because if there's no doctor, you should not be in a position to serve certain kind of products. But the products that they can't serve without a doctor being there, and they need them urgently, we have mapped and scoped all that out so that we'll be able to deliver it to them in emergency, on demand.
Okay, when was this Zipline company set up?
Zipline has been around for a few years, but we've been operating in Rwanda since October 2016.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
It was set up, like specifically, which year was it set up? I'm told it's based in California.
So it's a California-based company, but in terms of national operations, full deployments, it's Rwanda that is our first major place of full deployment.
Okay, so the company builds its own drones?
Yes, so the drones are, actually the drones are custom built.
Okay.
They are not commercial drones. You can't find them anywhere. It's intellectual property patented.
Okay.
So it's built to serve this particular purpose.
All right.
And that is how come, based on this intellectual property, that Zipline is the only drone company doing medical deliveries on a national basis anywhere in the world.
Okay. Now, let me also get this clarified. Who owns Zipline?
So, I mean, I'm not on the board of Zipline, so I cannot tell about direct ownership.
But you represent him here.
Yes,
so
I
it would make
represent
sense
the company.
for you to know the details of this.
At least I know the co-founder of the company is Keller. So, I mean, to that point, but as to exact ownership and whatever, but I know it's funded by a number of venture capital organizations that have interest in seeing drone delivery, you know, expand across the world.
Okay, is there any other company that does what Zipline is doing?
On a national level, to the best of my interest, no. This model nationally has not been replicated anywhere, apart from Rwanda, and if we get the approval in Ghana.
Okay, so, I mean, these are the only two countries that this drone delivery system has happened in. There are some who are raising questions about your ability to carry out this particular project on a national basis. So that's why I raised the question of Dafiema Buzie Issa. I also raised a question about other parts of the country, and then when we're talking about the underserved areas, they are wide and very much in remote areas. Are you able to reach these areas? Some of the areas, there is not even mobile telephonic connectivity.
Yeah. So the interesting thing is actually the Zipline service is supposed to reach the hardest to reach areas.
Okay.
That is what it's supposed to do. So if you look at our first distribution center, the mapping shows 500 facilities with as many as 300 being CHIPS compounds. So from my role, systems integration, what we do is we have understood, with the help of Ghana Health Service, how many facilities are even within the catchment area. And we've tried to estimate the distance from each of these facilities from our distribution center. Then our next step is to actually do geo-coordinates or geo-mapping of all these facilities. So we actually visit every single one of these facilities to verify, that it actually exists. Okay. It's actually here, and because we also have to train the healthcare professional on how to use the service. So it's something that is actually possible to do. I mean, I personally have visited a lot of the facilities within our first distribution center.
Let me be clear, is it only medical supplies directly, medicine that you can supply?
No, so we are supplying 148 products. That's what is in scope for us initially. They are blood products, so red blood cells, platelets, cryoprecipitates, and then there are essential medicines. And then there are some vaccines that have been put in scope, and then TB and HIV medications have been put in scope as well. So
it's these medical supplies?
Yes.
Not equipment too?
No. For now, we don't have a scope of we don't have a scope of delivering medical equipment.
But can you do that?
I mean, I cannot sit here and say we can or cannot, because what actually happens is...
Have we done that before?
Medical supply, medical equipment?
Yes.
No, to the best of my knowledge, we haven't delivered medical equipment.
Okay, now let me get this. Is it only for emergency services?
Yes. So Zipline service is not to actually replace any existing logistic or supply chain processes. However, let me give you a typical example. The place you were mentioning, what's the name again? Dafiema. So a facility in Dafiema will receive regular supplies of medicine from the nearest medical stores to it. Now, the truth of the matter is that these medical stores would only deliver to Dafiema at fixed points or fixed periods in a month, okay? But you can have a situation whereby in Dafiema, all of a sudden there's an outbreak of, let's say, malaria. All of a sudden, malaria rises in that area. So the quantity that they had to treat malaria for that month, they realized they've run out of it very quickly. And they are not getting a supply until maybe the next week or the next 10 days. Does it mean that the people in Dafiema, when they visit that center, should not be treated? Or does it mean that they have to necessarily be rushed to another center to be treated when they could have been served? So what Zipline then hopes to do is, between the regular supplies, to prevent them from total stockouts and to prevent the facilities from not being able to save lives, our mission is we fit in there to provide just the emergency. So we are not bringing all the supplies that they need. But as and when people walk in with this condition and they realize they don't have it, we deliver the medications to them until their regular supply for the month is due them.
Who is paying for your installments and the equipment that you bring to the country?
So Zipline is actually taking care of the cost of setting up the distribution centers. It's 100% being borne by Zipline and its investors to set up the distribution centers. So what we provide is a pay for service agreement. So our clients only pay for what we deliver within a period.
So if you do not deliver within, let's say, a month, 2 months, a year, we don't pay you anything?
We are not paid for deliveries not made.
Okay, so you can still operate for a whole year without doing any delivery at all?
I mean, if there's not been any demand or request for our products, yes.
Okay, now, but you hope that there will be consistent requests for these products, mindful of the situation we find ourselves in this country?
You see, the reality is, like I was saying, we've gone around, we've seen some of these facilities ourselves. People need some of these supplies regularly, like blood. I mean, if around 1 a.m. somebody's rushed to the hospital and needs blood urgently, the person will need it to be delivered somehow if it is not available at that facility. So there is a demand for some of these services. There's actually a need to have medical, commodities delivered to the facilities just in time to save a life or two.
So if you just joined us, this is Upfront. My guest today is the people who are bringing us these big drones, wonderful drones, to deliver the drugs and other medical supplies to the parts of the country. The people who are behind this controversial $12 million arrangement the state of this republic is having with the California-based Zipline. The gentleman before me today, Daniel Amor, works with them. He is actually in charge of their systems integration. And so we're seeking to find out how that system is going to work. What are the things that may prevent it from working, and whether or not this is worth the resources that we hope to invest in all of this, as the minority raises some questions about this particular deal. So is it possible that your drones seeking to do emergency work may malfunction, may not get to the destination, and will not be doing what's supposed to do?
I mean, every machine has the probability of not, functioning optimally, but because it's an unmanned plane, we adhere to very high aviation standards. So the drones have a lot of safety features that are built in. So for instance, if the drone, for any reason, in a very rare occasion, realizes that it is maybe moved out of parts or it's detected a malfunction, it deploys a safety parachute.
Oh, I see.
Itself.
How big are these drones?
I mean, maybe it's probably the size of this
You've seen it before?
desk. What?
You've seen it before?
Oh yes, I mean,
I've seen
the drones. I've been in Rwanda. I've seen it work. I mean, it's yeah.
I get you. So now let me understand this. I mean, the system might work somewhere in some areas, but what are the tendencies that this drone, will they rely on the network in the area, or it will be independent of the network in the area?
So the drones are actually, so maybe just to give you some understanding, the drones fly by three main means, okay? So we map a flight route. If you remember, I told you that we would go to the facility and take a geo coordinate.
Okay.
So once we take a geo coordinate, in consultation with the regulators, civil aviation, we map a flight route.
Okay.
And this flight route is then programmed into the drone. So once the drone sets off, it actually knows where it is going.
Okay.
So it doesn't necessarily need internet in Tumu or wherever to be able to know that it's going in this direction. It is mapped to know exactly where it is going. It will make the trip and then return safely.
Okay, now the question that's been raised about this is equally connected to whether or not this is value for money. How much is being charged in this country? Is it the same thing or within the same range you are charging in Rwanda?
I mean, I cannot speak to costs, I'm not the lawyer who drafted the agreement and I'm not the client. But what I can tell you is that, take for instance, I'll use blood as an example, right? Because there's been a bit talk about blood. Blood has two issues. If you donated blood today, blood will expire in a number of days. In actually, the full blood you donate today will expire in 42 days.
Okay.
Right? A lot of blood is lost through expiries because they were kept at places and at the time there was no demand for them and they expired. So there's always a constant need. However, from a point where it's at a centralized place and only as and when people need them, it's delivered to them in emergency situations, you realize that you are bringing some efficiency in the system. Same way probably with drugs. You may have expiries because it may go and stack up somewhere and then there may be demand elsewhere. So our value for money analysis shows that by removing wastage in this kind of manner, you're actually saving some money. And then there is transportation costs, ad hoc transportation costs. So for instance, the example where I gave you whereby they are not due for their next shipment, but I mean, they've run out. So you'd probably send the relative of the patient to go and get this medication from somewhere else. Or you may just move a car or a motorbike just to go and pick one product. It will take longer. You may actually run the risk of, actually having a possible accident or whatever. So by bringing savings in transportation and expiries and wastage, we hope to show value for money for this service. Now, and then also saving lives. I mean, we can't put a value to life saved. But if you want to quantify it, wastage, expiries, and transportation costs, ad hoc transportation costs minimized, would actually show value for money.
Well, folks, that's it for my very first guest today on Upfront. And the conversation with Daniel was pretty much to get to appreciate exactly what is this system about, who are those behind it, and how it's going to work. I'm sure you have your answers on how it's going to operate from the time that the Parliament of this Republic is supposed to do it. After the break, the Director General of the Ghana Health Service is my guest. You welcome back. This is Upfront. So in the first half of this conversation, the people who are in charge of delivering and making sure that the drone delivers the right amount of medicine and the right equipment that are required for the operation, in this case, medical supplies, clearly spoke to us about how that system is going to work. I hope you have a brighter appreciation of the system now. Now, let's do with the Ghana Health Service. this institution, together with the Ministry of Health, were the ones that contracted this particular group or are in the throes of contracting this group. Exactly what is the main issues? Is it still 12 million US dollars that's been involved in all of this? The Director General of the Ghana Health Service is Dr. Nsiasai. Doc, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
I hope you are doing well.
I'm doing perfectly well.
Brilliant. Now, let's start on this particular basis. Let's understand this. The minority is insisting this is just a rip-off. There is no way, even if you are buying the drones, it should cost you that much to do the leverage that they are dealing in this country. And the spokesperson of finance is the one leading the charge.
Yeah, thank you very much. And good evening to your cherished listeners and viewers. I believe that the spokesperson for finance for the minority has not read the contract very well. If he has read the contract very well, there may be. He has a copy, okay. Because when I saw him on TV, he was holding the paper which he was showing around. I have the contract here.
Okay.
And there's nowhere in the contract we say that government is going to buy drones for 12 million. And he was giving an example of buying drones. You can get one he has checked is about 100,000. I don't know which drones he's talking about. I've seen the drones. I'm sure that the young man who came here showed you the type of drone that we are going to use. Yeah. The drones that is being shown on social media, it's not that what we are going to use. What we are going to use is an automated airplane, which is unmanned, which has a space to put a cargo. That's what we are going to use. We are not buying drones. Ghana government, for that matter, Ministry of Health, Ghana Health Service, has no part in the setting up of the distribution center.
Okay.
The maintenance of the distribution center, and all the logistics and equipment that they will buy to the distribution center. We are not paying a peso for it.
So what's the 12 million purported for?
The 12 million, it is when the drones, the four distribution centers are at full capacity. The full capacity means that they are at the full range of distribution. And this contract that we have sent to Parliament is a performance-based contract. And if we say it's performance-based service contract, it means that we are going to buy the services of Fly Zipline Ghana. That's what we are going to do.
Okay.
And if you look at the performance, if you look at the,
so it's like DHL.
The price, it's like DHL that you send, your goods to DHL, send it to New York for me,
okay,
and then it charges you this amount of money that you pay, maybe 55 Ghana cedis. You give the letter to them, they weigh it and charge you. That's exactly what we are doing.
Okay.
Somebody will ask, why won't you use the money to go and buy ambulances and all these things? The money is not there that you are going to use to buy ambulances. These are services that Ghana Health Service already provides to the people of this country. But who pays for it? Sometimes the hospital who pays for it, or the patient or patient relative pays for it. For example, if a patient is in Dodowa and he needs O negative blood from Kolebu Blood Bank, sometimes what we do is that we send the relatives go and get the blood from Kolebu Blood Bank. Nobody thinks about the cost of the relative moving from Dodowa to Kolebu Blood Bank and the relative coming back with the blood. The time that the relative will take, the cost of transportation, and how it's moving in and out, even the storage of the blood to the place. Nobody knows. Sometimes it will fall down, they will put it back into the container and then bring it back to you. Nobody quantifies that. If the hospital is going to bring it, the hospital may go with an ambulance or with a hospital transport system. Nobody asks how much the hospital pays in and out from Accra to Dodowa and bring it back, the number of hours that it will take. This is what we are talking about. So this is a service which is already provided. And this is the service that we are going to buy from Zipline, so that Zipline, Fly Zipline Ghana will bring the goods or the commodity to wherever it's supposed to be within a matter of 30 to 45 minutes maximum.
30 to 45 minutes?
Yes, maximum.
Whichever area in this country?
Yes, because we are setting...
Whichever facility in the country?
Yes, we are setting 4 distribution centers for the meantime for the first 4 years. And then we'll look at it and then maybe scale it up to every place so that it covers a radius of 80 kilometers. And so the diameter is about 160 kilometers. Okay. So we can go, the first one we are setting in Suhum will serve Greater Accra, Eastern Region, the southern and the middle part of Volta region, Ashanti region, and some parts of central region. And then we are going to sit down with them together and then relocate the other 3 zones so that it covers as many people of this country as much as possible. They are a company. They are bringing in their own system. They are going to bear the costs.
I guess that point you've made, but yes. I want to know more about the funding. I think that's the only controversy.
And the funding, you see, yes. The funding, God being so good, because of the leadership that we have at the presidency. When we had this idea and then we spoke to the vice president, he went to Silicon Valley and saw it, and then realized that it is something that we have to go with. He called a meeting. We formed a committee, and then we started the negotiation 6 months ago. Ghana Civil Aviation is part of it, National Security is part of it, Ghana Health Service, National Brass Transmission Services, and then the Office of the President. We've been meeting regularly to extend that the Civil Aviation, Ghana Civil Aviation have gone to Rwanda to go and have a look. National Security Agency or a council have also gone to look at the background, what they are doing there and everything. Then the Vice President then in his own wisdom said, look, Director General, why can't we ask the corporate organization as a part of their social responsibility sponsor this for the first 4 years? He wrote a letter for us. We went to GMPC, spoke to the GMPC, and GMPC is the main sponsor. And I'm here, I can tell you straight away that GMPC has agreed to give the service $1 million every year for the next 5 years. Not if they didn't say 4 years, say 5 years. And we have contacted other corporate organizations, the telcos, the oil producing, the oil drilling companies in this country, and a lot of corporate organizations. So the money that they would have used to also maybe sponsor other things, they are also now coming into health, which is a social responsibility of the corporate organizations to health. So even, it's not government who is going to pay it out directly. It is not the patient that we are going to charge. We are not going to leave it with the health facilities and they will tell us that, oh, it's not budgeted for. So for the first 4 years, we are sure that we are going to get the money for, which is about a quarter of the 12 million we are talking about. The 12 million is the cumulative yearly 4-year cost of the service. So we are not buying a drone. Nobody buys a drone. Nobody nowadays buys technology which changes frequently. But in Rwanda.
But how do you know the number? I get you saying to me
number.
The number of what they call the visits this drone would make.
That's why I said that this is a performance-based contract, service contract. For example,
so how did you then estimate the 12 million?
I'll give you an example. For example, at the ramp-up period, when there is nothing being done, maybe it is starting, we don't pay anything. When they start distribution, and the distribution center distribute less than 0 to 15, we don't pay anything. When they distribute 15 times a day, not even a week or a month, 15 times a day, then we pay 11,000.
Cedis.
11,000 equivalent, dollars equivalent in cedis for the distribution center. When they go for the every day, they are distributing about more than between 15 and 50 deliveries a day. We pay 25,000. And it's 27,000 because we wanted them to do day and night. When they do, which is the phase 3, the phase 3 is that when they are delivering between 75 and 100 deliveries a day, then because it's day and night, we pay $59,000 equivalent. When they are in full range, that is, they are distributing 100 plus, and we expect them to distribute about 150 deliveries a day, then we pay 88,000. And that is what we calculate. And then even we put in a discount. If we pay regularly on time for the first month, the second month we are going to pay, they will discount it by 11,000, which we hope the committee we have formed will be paying on time. So we may not be paying, if it's a full range, we'll be paying the 88,000. It will be 77,000 then. And we are getting the money, open an account at Bank of Ghana, put the money in, and then the steering committee, which is made up of the chief director, myself, National Blood Transfusion Services, and some people from the Ministry and Ghana Health Service and the Ministry of Finance, we will manage the money in such a way that we pay regularly. For the first 4 years, it is likely, and we hope it's going to be so, because we have spoken to all these organizations, I'll tell you a story. We went to one of the oil drilling organizations, and he was telling me that, Doc, we are operating in Western region. So if you can put a distribution center in Western region for us, which will serve the area, so that the people in the area will know that we are doing our social responsibility, we will sponsor it. And I said, you can take it. So I said, okay, it's 88,000 a month for a distribution center.
88,000?
Yes, at a full range, at the full distribution when they are phase 4. Can you take that one up? So they are going to meet their board members, and then I'm hopeful that they will also take it. And I've been telling people that somebody can also take maybe somewhere in the middle belt, somebody will take the northern belt, and for all we care, for the next 8 years or so, we have enough money. If you have enough money, we invest it, and then we pay in this. And this is a way that Ghana, the people of this country, will be benefiting from the distribution using technology to distribute health commodities. I'm sure you're going to ask me, why the sole sourcing? That's the question people have been asking.
Yes, I'll come to that, but as we speak, I don't get the impression that you've secured commitment from all of these groupings to make this.
We secure enough commitment to pay.
That's from GMPC alone?
Not from GMPC alone. We have commitment for other organizations.
Specifically?
But because GMPC is the lead sponsor,
and it seems like you're pushing more money.
I will mention their name.
Yeah, but I'm asking the other organizations. Which organizations
the
are
other
these?
Organizations are the telcos. The other organizations like the oil producing. We have approached all telcos.
But
from
have
the office,
they all agreed?
Yes. We have initial discussion of them, and
they were committed to spending money?
They've all committed, and we are here we will sign the contract.
Okay.
Because the contract is in Parliament, and I'm hopeful when it's passed, everybody will know. For example, people were asking, why are you going to fly? Have you gotten a certification from Ghana Civil Aviation? I'll say yes. Ghana Civil Aviation has gone to Rwanda. Okay. They've looked at where the fly range is, so that they are not going to make sure that they don't you don't fly at security areas and all sort of things, and you don't have any interference of the airplanes which are flying in the internal air flights. So that's what is going to happen.
Okay.
And they've written a letter as I speak now, I think yesterday, to the Honorable Speaker that they are satisfied with what they are doing in Rwanda, okay, and they are ready to give the license when they have seen that everything has been approved.
Now, let me get also this clarified, and this is the procurement arrangement in this case. The justification for sole sourcing is because they are the only ones doing it?
Yes. Justification is that I want somebody to come and tell me which other organization is using drones for healthcare delivery. It is only Zipline.
Drones can be custom made to do whatever you want to do.
Yes, so they have developed a custom made drones in Rwanda, in the African sub-region. They know the African terrain, and that is why we said that we are going there. And if you look at the Act 663, subsection 10A, you realize that if you want to get to procure other supplies or construction or anything, and you have a company which is the sole company which is doing it, you can write to Public Procurement Authority, and the Public Procurement Authority board
demand that.
And we did that because we believe it. We know that that's the law, and in the wisdom of the Public Procurement Authority board, they've approved it.
And the financial arrangements on it.
They look at the financial arrangement as we speak now. Mm-hmm. They are doing the value for money.
Yeah.
Because I can tell you, if you take the 88,000, for example, the first distribution center, which will be at Suhum, it will cover about 500 facilities. So you take it that they do the full range of 150 a day for all the 500. If you divide 88,000 by 500, it comes to $175.
Okay.
Which is about 850 Ghana cedis. So it means that if even the facilities are paying themselves, no facility, if you share it among them, will pay more than $875 Ghana cedis. But they are spending, even the chip center spends more of that money, even in a week, for doing the distribution of commodities. That is apart from the cost of life that it will save.
Let me get this straight. Is this the most important need in a healthcare delivery system today?
It is.
It is?
It is. I'm sure you're going to tell her you don't have ambulance. Why are you going to buy this? That's why I'm telling you that we are not using government money, or we are not asking government to give us 12 million to go and buy drones. A corporate organization will take that bill. And two, this is a money that if we don't use the drones, we'll be paying even more than that. And three, the fact that we don't have ambulance doesn't mean that we should allow a pregnant woman who is in labor, who needs blood, who is in the faraway area, in the riverine areas where it's raining, and then we cannot take the patient immediately to the next center. We have to cross. You remember that what came in the social media, where a woman who was bleeding because of abortion or pregnancy, which was being miscarriage, was carried on a motorbike, and people were carrying that woman to cross a river. We are lucky he didn't lose her life, but he lost the baby. If such a woman, a pint of blood or 2 pints of blood can be dropped at where the woman was, there will be no need to carry the woman through the river. We don't even know if the people can swim, or the depth of the water level is even above their head. That is what the priority. The priority is that it's not only putting up health facilities.
But in this case, the woman would have preferred an ambulance that can get her there rather than actually something that would deliver blood, because she may not even be able to get to the facility herself.
Yes, the woman needs blood.
Yes.
If it doesn't,
she has to get to the facility for that to be determined.
It's not necessary to get to the facility to get the blood. The woman went to the chip center, which is nearer to her. If the blood can be dropped at the chip center, the woman can be transfused at the chip center. She may not be even necessary to take the woman as an emergency to the next level. That is where the problem is.
Except that I read your reports a lot, the Ghana Health Service, your yearly report. It never struck me that delivery of medical supplies is perhaps your biggest challenge, the one that you want to focus all your energy in, the one that you want to, with speed, push in and make sure you get done in this case.
Delivery of medical commodities and non-medical commodities, like drugs, essential medicines, and blood, is very essential in healthcare delivery. Because if you have facilities, you have the topmost professionals at the place, and you cannot give them what they need to work off on time and appropriately, then there's a problem. There's frustration. You see the patient lying down there, you cannot treat the patient. For example, I'll give you a very simple example. Anti-snake venom. If you have somebody has a snake bite in the remotest village, and then the anti-snake venom is in the regional hospital, about 160 kilometers away. The child is bitten in the bush. The only car which comes to the area leaves in the morning and comes back in the evening. And then he's bitten in the night. What do you have to do? You have to wait for the child to get hemorrhagic shock and cardiac shock and die. By the time you reach the center where they can give the anti-snake venom, the child is already gone. If you are in the city, you think that it's not necessary. But if you are in the village, that's what you think is the most important thing. Another area that we should also consider is that maybe road traffic accident. There's a road traffic accident on the Kumasi-Tamale road. There's a lot of casualties. Somebody is bleeding to death. He needs to be transfused before an ambulance can even reach there and transport the patient to the next hospital. If blood is dropped within the matter of 30 minutes, and then the patient can the transfusion starts, and the patient is put on the ambulance and is being resuscitated to the next hospital, he will not come to the hospital dead.
Okay.
So ambulance alone doesn't solve the problem.
I get you. But it looks like, I mean, this is top tier priority for us.
It's a priority. It's one of the priorities. One of the you see.
But for a state, that budget in 2018 that you want to buy some ambulance, 275 or so of them.
It's also a priority.
You've not bought any so far as
it is in the it's in the process.
Yes, but it's been in this process for God knows how long. We are in December of the year ending.
You see, the problem is that we are not buying drones, and that is what is going on.
I get your point. I'm not saying we are buying drones.
So if you are buying drones, then you can make this comparison.
No, I'm not doing a comparison. I'm just saying that it looks like you are more dedicated to getting your energies into getting this drone service on board rather than concentrating on what many agree has been a problem.
No, I've come here and I'm doing this, not because I think it's only drones and drones. No, I'm doing everything together.
Because, for example, we want to know how many beds are you providing in the hospitals? Because
yes, I'm coming.
Yes.
You see, because why I'm here and I'm trying to explain it is that nobody should tell anybody that essential medicines, blood, and other commodities is not a priority in healthcare delivery system.
No, that's not what you're saying. What you're saying is that
so when you are doing
the
that,
supply of same from one point to the other, that's if there is at a point in the first place. Because you should have the essential medicine before you can supply, is it not so?
Yes.
The claim about this anti-snake venom in the Upper East was that there was none to be taken there.
Yeah, it's because maybe there's a anti-snake venom which is stocked in maybe in Kumasi, or is stocked in some hospital which is not available to the hospital in the Upper East. And that's where the distribution comes in.
No, but
that's why the distribution comes in. That's one point. The second point is not only about distributing anti-snakes and all this. The second point is that it also will fill the stock out. Because somebody is running short of maybe infusions. And then he realized that, hey, my infusion is getting finished. We are doing a last mile delivery. The dose is not coming to replace our normal distribution system, but it will fill the stock out before it also is completely zero, before the next distribution comes. The next thing is that we are also saving lives, very vital lives at places where it's difficult to go and underserved areas. Even here in Accra, if you need, for example, O negative blood at Tema, and the only blood is at Kolebu Blood Center, somebody goes there even with ambulance. The traffic.
Okay.
Before you reach to, you pick the blood and you goes back to Tema General Hospital, the patient is gone. Because it will take about 2 hours. If you look at the traffic on the way.
How is this going to promote acute and emergency services?
That's why we are going to run 24 hours. Immediately, there are 4 steps. Immediately, you need the medicine or essential drug, or you need the blood. You can use an SMS, can use WhatsApp. It goes on their screen, and immediately, within a matter of 5 minutes, they put it on the drone. They pack it, put it on the drone, and then shoot it off. And within 30 to 45 minutes, it is there.
Is it 27.8 million US dollars, or it is 12 million?
The service fee is about $12 million. It's in front of me here.
Specifically, what's the amount? Because the minority parliament is insisting that you'll be now quoting figures for us all this while.
They have this document. They have the document. So if somebody is becoming a propagandist and he wants to add figures together when they are not supposed to add. You see what I was talking to you about, that the 11,000, the 25,000, that's what I saw they did. He added 11,000 to 25,000 to 59,000 to 88,000, and he multiply it, and they say that it's 27 million. It is not 27 million. I'm telling you today, the service agreement is 12 million. It's not 27 million.
And that's on page, which specific page is this? So the Director General will get us that particular page so that we are clear in our mind on exactly what the amount involved in this. You're still live here on Upfront, our conversation first and foremost with the people who deployed the Zipline.
You see, I'm sure when they saw the 27 million, they saw something which was multiplied by VAT and all these things, which is 27.
Sorry, so there's 27 million in there.
It's not 27 million, 27,095.
Okay.
On page 40.
Okay.
That's what it is. I'm sure that's why somebody saw and he said, let's add more zeros to it. It's not. And then they came to the cross monthly of 181,004. If that one is, if all the 4 zones are different phases, that is what maybe will be paid every month. Okay. But I can assure you that they will be at different phases. So it's not the whole, every time that everything is 88,000. So if you take the 88,000 and multiply it to 88,000 every month, and
okay, you will not get it. There's 25,000.
Yes, 25,000.
You explained that particular point.
Yes. So that's how it is. Yeah. So I'm a bit amazed because when you met,
if the Parliament rejects this deal, what's the big deal?
I know Parliament will not reject this.
I'm asking if they do.
If they reject it, they've done Ghana a disservice. Because the problem that I say that is that there are people who are now shouting and jumping. When Rwanda did this in October 2016, they were the same people who were praising Rwanda. Rwanda is an icon.
Are they paying the same amount of money?
Rwanda is paying even more.
Really?
I'll tell you, if you calculate the cost per delivery, in Rwanda it's about $22. Ghana, we got it for $17. It's because of the volumes that we have, because of the country, because of how we did it, and what we went into it. Rwanda, what they are doing for the first 2 years, solely for blood, is only during the day. Ghana, we added the night. You see? And secondly, In Rwanda, they didn't ask for training center. Ghana, we have asked for training center. About 200 young people, this is pharmacists, supply chain specialists, IT, and all sorts of people will be employed. And in Rwanda, within 2 years, they've trained the young people in Rwanda, they've taken over 100%. In Ghana, I'm hoping that within the 4 years, we will have young men and women who will take over the construction of drones, the assembly of drones. You see, I've told you that nobody's buying.
There are Ghanaians who do that.
Yes, it's Ghanaians who are going to do that.
There are Ghanaians who assemble drones in this country.
Yes, but I'm talking about drones to deliver medical equipment. Ghanaians assembling drones.
Customizing it.
Yes, somebody can customize and assemble drone, but nobody has come to show us that he has assembled drone to deliver medical products. They've assembled drones to take pictures.
Because you went for sole sourcing. If you had opened it up, we would have actually gotten other people coming on board.
They don't have that capacity. They haven't done any experience. With the Ghanaians who are assembling the drone, have they done medical deliveries? No. Have they done drones which will go and shoot and come back? No. Have they, the drones that maybe they are developing is drones who take pictures and it goes vertical. I'm sure the young man who came here explained it to you.
Yes, he explained the details of that case.
Details to you. So please, I want to repeat here on your platform that Ghana government is not buying any drones. We are not buying
Ghana
drones.
government is not paying a peswa.
Ghana government is not paying a peswa. It's going to be financed for the next 4 years through corporate bodies.
After that, government pays.
After that, we will continue also getting the corporate organization to take care of it.
That's an uncertain future.
Yeah, that's after the 4 years.
That's an uncertain
After the
future.
4 years, we either buy it, we shall be, even by that time, our young men...
The drones?
After 4 years, we may buy the technology, or we may transfer the technology to young Ghanaians who will be doing it. And I want to also repeat here, we are not paying 27 million over the 4 years. We are paying about $12 million equivalent over the 4 years.
About?
No, it's 12 million.
Okay, all right.
12 million,
yes.
Specifically.
Whether
That's what you are paying.
Whether they deliver or do not deliver.
Not other they deliver, it's performance based.
Okay, I get your point.
So if they don't deliver,
so it can be way lower than that.
Well lower than that.
Okay.
But I'm sure as a company as they are, they will give us good services.
Are they only delivering for emergency services?
They are delivering for emergency services and for other services that we will feel that
determine and give them out.
Or what you want them to do is to do not, if they are in full range, not less than 150 deliveries per day.
When is the ambulances coming?
The ambulances?
Yes.
Maybe this question you should have asked the National Ambulance Service.
To ask
what I know that the procurement is ongoing.
Yes, we've been hearing that for almost the entire
ambulances is not in my domain.
I'm asking when they are coming. You are the Director General of the Ghana Health Service.
I'm just the beneficiary of the ambulance service.
Yes, you take them.
So I wish one day you call the National Ambulance Service Chief Executive and you can ask him when the ambulance coming.
I have another question.
Put that question to him, and I'm sure he'll give you the answer because I know procurement is going on.
This supposed contaminated blood issue at Confirmatory Teaching Hospital, what's happening to it?
I know there's a team which has been formed, a national team from the National AIDS Control Program, from the FDA, and also from the Ghana Health Service.
Yeah.
We are assisting them to unravel the situation, what happened, and then they will come out of a report. Why
do we need to unravel when the business is supposed to be, we are told that Confirmatory Teaching Hospital says they are done with it?
No, the Confirmatory Teaching Hospital themselves, together with the ministry, have constituted a committee to go in depth into it. I'm sure.
I thought this was supposed to end with just a test or 1 or 2 confirmation tests.
Yeah, so far as I know.
Yes.
As at yesterday, the one who is leading it works at Ghana Health Service.
Okay.
They finished the test and they were going to Kumasi to sit down and then complete it.
They had to complete the test, which is being finished?
No, complete the committee's work.
Oh, okay. Yes. So when they finished the test, was it negative or positive? For AIDS specifically?
I didn't set up the committee.
No. I mean, you are Director General of the Ghana Health Service. This is very critical.
I didn't set the committee.
It wasn't negative or positive?
So I'll wait for the committee, the one who set the committee, to come out and give us the test results.
Dr. Nsiasare is the Director General of the Ghana Health Service. Doc, it's been wonderful having you today.
Thank you.
Okay, folks, that's where we end today's edition of Upfront. My name is Raymond Akwa.